Good morning, everyone.
Morning. Morning.
And welcome to the Museum of Science and Industry in Chicago. I'm Chevy Humphrey, the president and CEO, and I'm so pleased that we're all here today overlooking beautiful Jackson Park, where the cherry blossoms trees are in full bloom. It's just absolutely beautiful and stunning. I want to welcome all of our guests, including Governor Pritzker, Commissioner Avis Lavelle, General Superintendent and Chief Executive Officer Mike Kelly, Commissioner Gia Biaggi, Deputy Mayor Samir Mayakar, and the community, business, and civic leaders who have joined us today. The Obama Presidential Center will be a welcome addition to Chicago's South Side and a fantastic neighbor to the museum. It will benefit the entire community, providing new cultural and educational opportunities and inspiring a new generation of engaged citizens and leaders. It is my honor and privilege today to introduce Mayor Lori Lightfoot. I'd like to thank the mayor for her support of Chicago's museums and cultural institutions in our community. Her investing in our neighborhoods has such a positive impact that helps create brighter futures for our youth. We are grateful for your leadership. Thank you. Please join me in welcoming Mayor Lori Lightfoot.
Thank you, Chevy, and thank you to the MSI team. And I just want to say on behalf of a very excited city and cultural community, welcome to Chicago. I know it's only been 3 months. You probably feel like it's a little bit longer, but when the announcement first came, we were all thrilled and look forward to lots of partnership with you in the museum. So thank you all for being here. Good morning, everyone. Let me recognize the other leaders standing here today. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker. And I'm just going to say, depart from script, thank you, Governor, for your leadership, and thank you in particular for really rising and seeing a need here in our city. We are grateful for the additional vaccine that the state will be sending our way. It helps us keep moving forward on the important work that we've been about here in the city about getting folks vaccinated. And we wouldn't be able to do this without your partnership and support. So thank you. I want to recognize also Park Superintendent and CEO Mike Kelly, Chicago Department of Transportation Commissioner Gia Biaggi, Planning Commissioner Maurice Cox, Obama Foundation Chair Marty Nesbitt. I also want to recognize and thank the other city leaders and community stakeholders for being here and helping make this incredible moment possible. Folks, today is a very exciting day for our city and state. Our next big step in a mission to create opportunities for our residents, one of whom who have in communities that have been disinvested for way too long. Over the course of this long, torturous year, we've encountered numerous challenges that have forced us to reckon with the socioeconomic fault lines that stymie the success of our residents, especially those on our south and west sides. And to eliminate these fault lines once and for all, it's imperative that our COVID recovery is equitable, sustainable, and above all else, inclusive of all residents. And a way that we do that is by identifying and pursuing opportunities now that will kickstart our economy and place our values of equity and inclusion at the heart of that work. That's why today we're gathered here to announce the start of an unprecedented more than $200 million investment in public dollars to Jackson Park, Woodlawn, and other communities. We intend for these dollars to be transformative. This is an investment that Southside residents have been asking for far too long, and will enhance our historic Jackson Park, generate good-paying, sustainable jobs for residents in the surrounding area, and ensure that these residents, and particularly long-time residents in particular, will be able to participate in and take advantage of our post-pandemic economy, and importantly, be able to afford to remain here in their neighborhoods. And this will amplify the positive catalytic impact of the Obama Presidential Center. For the South Side and our city as a whole, the Obama Presidential Center and the capital investments we are making combined are making alongside it are the true embodiment of what it means to create inclusive economic growth. All too often, Black and brown residents, like the ones who call our South Side home, have historically been left behind and left out of our city's economic recovery efforts. No more. By providing jobs and other opportunities to residents in a nearby community, we will be able to ensure that they have the full access to opportunity, to unlock their untapped potential and talent. And that's why we're making smart investments in infrastructure that will create jobs that pay a living wage right here in their communities. And let me give you a couple of examples. In partnership with the Chicago Department of Transportation, we will create more and better green space in the footprint and surrounding neighborhoods, improve connectivity for safety for pedestrians and bikers, and to accommodate future traffic demands, projects that will create good-paying, sustainable jobs for residents and boost our economy thanks to improved roadways and further enhance the Southside's museum campus as a world-class destination. Furthermore, in partnership with the Chicago Park District, we will also begin to make improvements within Jackson Park, starting with a new running track that is set to open this summer. The completion of this running track, in addition to creating jobs, will create a new space for residents to gather in and enjoy. I want to thank Chicago Park District Superintendent and CEO Mike Kelly, Chicago Department of Transportation Commissioner Gia Biaggi for making these projects possible and giving residents further access to the socioeconomic resources they deserve. Today's announcement doesn't stop there, though. Creating good-paying and sustainable jobs is incredibly important, but so is making sure residents will be able to remain in their homes to be able to take advantage of them. And that's why our Department of Housing, led by Commissioner Marissa Navarro, and Department of Planning and Development, led by Maurice Cox, have been working tirelessly since the start of this administration with community leaders and stakeholders to implement multiple community-driven resources to set the stage for future private investment in areas near the Obama Presidential Center. And I just got to give my hats off to Commissioner Cox and Commissioner Navarro. Literally hundreds of community meetings personally attended to by them, hundreds of conversations with relevant stakeholders, and that is what's led to some of the announcements that we're going to be making today. One of those resources, which arose directly from this community engagement, is a Woodlawn Revolving Loan Fund, a part of the Woodlawn Housing Preservation Ordinance that will provide nearly $10 million in financial support to help rehabilitate existing affordable housing for Southside residents. This is what our residents told us they needed, and we worked tirelessly to figure this out and make it available so that they can make improvements, that they can be able to stay in their homes. Ensuring that residents can remain in their homes and witness revitalization of their communities firsthand, critically important as part of this work. And again, I want to thank Alderwoman Jeanette Taylor and Leslie Hairston for their partnership in making this work possible. And thanks again to Commissioner Navarro and Commissioner Cox for taking the resident feedback and shaping it into this housing preservation initiative. Supporting our communities and protecting residents is an effort I am personally passionate about. I also want to thank a number of banks that have stepped up to help make this revolving loan fund possible. These institutions have sent representatives to join us today, so thank you to JP Morgan Chase, CIBC, Fifth Third Bank, TFC Bank, Byline Bank, First Midwest Bank, and Wintrust Bank. A beautiful but brisk Chicago spring day. Let me also say that aside from these investments, our team have also been active in the surrounding areas, particularly the 63rd and Cottage corridors, as part of our Invest Southwest initiative. We will be investing an additional $100 million to the Western Gateway to the Obama Center at 63rd and College, which will include a complete renovation of the Green Line station, new office building, and creation of space for a new federally qualified healthcare centers. There has truly never been a better time to invest in our South Side. As a city, we are not just talking, we are doing. And we urge others to follow our lead and bet on the South Side. When President Obama made this incredibly important commitment to Chicago and the South Side, as a city, we had an obligation to take advantage of this historic opportunity that the OPC represents. And we have and will continue to step up in a big way. It's now my pleasure to introduce the leader of our state, Governor J.B. Pritzker. Thank you, Governor Pritzker.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Thank you very much, Madam Mayor, and welcome to everybody. This is one of my favorite places to be here at this museum. I've visited as a child many times, brought my children here many times, and I just love it at this location. And I don't think I've ever experienced quite the cold wind that we're experiencing, but you know, we said the Obama Center would blow you away, so. Thank you to Mayor Lightfoot, and thanks for your leadership in helping to make this possible for the Obama Foundation. The development here is going to be tremendous. I want to echo the mayor's appreciation for so many leaders who are engaged in making this possible and have been for years now, and it will take a little while longer and a lot of hard work and shoulder to the wheel by elected officials, leaders like Marty Nesbitt, who's been a tremendous, not only a business leader, but someone who's been civic-minded and put his hard work and time and effort and energy into making something great happen here in the city of Chicago. There are many others to thank, and I won't repeat all the names, but I want to say that these have been challenging times for everyone, and it's created a whole lot of obstacles for our state's residents, our small businesses, our frontline workers, and those challenges have underscored the vital importance of smart investments that open doors for working families, to strengthen our communities, and to ensure that nobody falls through the cracks. From the center's You Are America message, to the new Chicago Public Library branch, to the Women's Garden and Great Lawn, this complex will exemplify the Obama Foundation's commitment to being a place for the community as much as a space within it. Perhaps most importantly, the collaboration of the city and the state's initiatives with the developments of the Obama Presidential Center unlocks far more jobs and tourism and economic activity than any one entity could pursue by itself. So I'm particularly proud of our state's Department of Transportation's plan, working with the city to support additional green space in this neighborhood, making it safer for pedestrians and for bicyclists to access the area, improving park trails, and rerouting road traffic accordingly. This transformation is in part made possible by $174 million of state investment in this project, an investment that will help create thousands of direct and indirect jobs supported by the development of the Presidential Center. As we approach the halfway mark in our effort to vaccinate our adult population, our next highest priority is focusing on building the prosperous future that all Illinoisans deserve. It's what President Obama stood for and strived for throughout his presidency, so it's no surprise that the Obama Foundation is furthering that mission. The Foundation's leader is someone who, despite all of his success, doesn't often take the spotlight because he's a man of great humility, a man without whom this moment would not be possible. Obama Foundation Board Chair Marty Nesbitt. Marty?
It is cold. I looked out of my window and was deceived once again by Chicago. Sunshine. Okay, I want to start by thanking Mayor Lightfoot and Governor Pritzker for this significant investment in funding and the infrastructure for the south side of Chicago. President and Mrs. Obama chose to build their presidential center here because they believed it could be a catalyst that creates transformative opportunity for our community. And this is exactly the sort of investment they envisioned. With the Obama Presidential Center and these investments from the city and state, families are going to have new and more ways to enjoy this beautiful park, whether it's the new pedestrian paths and the lake connections that the city is making, or the playgrounds and community garden and sledding hill at the Obama Presidential Center. We are restoring the history of this park and realizing Olmsted's vision as a park for the people. We are creating a hub of life and vitality for our community. When the center is built, our estimates suggest that we are going to bring about 700,000 people to the south side every year and generate about $3.1 billion of economic impact. A lot of people hear all of this and think about one important thing. Is this going to create jobs for the people here on the south side? And the answer is indubitably, unequivocally, yes. There will be thousands of jobs for those helping to build and operate our center. But as the announcement today signifies, the jobs don't end with the center. Investment begets investment. So when we bring our investment to the south side and the mayor and the governor invest in our infrastructure, more investment and more jobs will come. When we bring hundreds of thousands of visitors to the Obama Presidential Center, that helps celebrate this community we love, but it also strengthens the small businesses across this area. When people start at the center, they can stop and get a cup of coffee at the currency exchange, try that infamous potato chip cookies at Give Me Some Sugar Bakery, or maybe they will soak up an afternoon of culture at the DeSable Museum admiring the restoration of the Stony Island Arts Bank. I also want to acknowledge the work by Mayor Lightfoot and Alderman Hairston and Taylor to ensure that as we work to bring this badly needed investment to the area, we make sure we're smart about how we do it. And we provide people who live here today the tools and resources they need to continue to call this area home. The housing ordinance passed last year in partnership with many community leaders and activists who worked so hard to make it happen is an important step in the right direction. Finally, I can't let this occasion pass without thanking Mayor Lightfoot for all she did to see our federal review process through. Many years and lots of twists and turns. Through it all, she never took her eye off the potential of the Obama Presidential Center on the south side. Because of her leadership, we're one day closer to breaking down ground on the center later this year, and one day closer to the day when all will be able to bring hundreds of thousands of people to this area to spend money and celebrate the rich history and culture of this community we call home. Until then, I hope you'll join us on the road to the groundbreaking, a celebration of our hometown of Chicago and everyone who's helping to make this dream a reality. We can't wait to get started. Thank you.
Thank you, Marty. I can assure you we are very excited to break ground. Very excited. I want to echo everyone. I certainly want to thank Governor Pritzker for being here today and all his support. I want to thank Mayor Lightfoot, of course, for her leadership and support. And on behalf of the Chicago Park District Board of Commissioners, I also want to thank you, President Humphrey, for your hospitality today and the warmth you're bringing to us with your smile. And last, I, of course, want to thank everyone from the Woodlawn community. You've been with us, you've worked with us, and I'm going to highlight in just a second some of the work you've done with us in and around Jackson Park. So today we are surrounded by some of Chicago's most treasured features, which includes the beautiful Japanese garden, which is behind me, the Columbian Basin, and the Museum of Science and Industry. All historic treasures from the 1893 World's Columbian Exposition, which was held right here in Jackson Park. And today the park serves as an anchor for the surrounding community and continues to attract visitors from across the city and around the globe. And in fact, we are just in time and maybe the first time, to see one of our most breathtaking attractions, which is the highly anticipated cherry blossoms. And you wouldn't expect, it really is colder and windier, obviously, than DC, because these cherry trees were planted, most of them 7 years ago, and this is the first year they've really blossomed in all their glory. In fact, we had 4,000 visitors just on Sunday alone taking pictures. Back in 2013, we worked with the community in the Japanese Chamber of Commerce, and we planted 170 cherry trees in Jackson Park, which commemorated both the 120th anniversary of the World's Columbian Exhibition and the 50th anniversary of our relationship as a city with the Chamber. And as you can see, the trees, again, are in full bloom. The Park District continues this important legacy in Jackson Park through the work we have already done, like restoring the award-winning Wooded Island in partnership with the Army Corps of Engineers and installing Yoko Ono's one-of-a-kind sky landing sculpture. In 2018, we completed the South Lakefront Framework Plan in partnership with 2,300 community members who came out to provide their input over a 10-month period to guide the park through the next decade of improvements. In 2019, we opened a new concession at 63rd Street Beach to give beachgoers a new amenity to enjoy the park. In 2020, we built a new seawall in the outer harbor, and we're in the process now of completing a new breakwater as well at the mouth of the harbor. And this summer, we will open a new South Shore Beach House, which you haven't seen yet. It's a beautiful new building behind South Shore Cultural Center, and it's going to be enjoyed by Southsiders for years to come. All these projects are a direct result of the South Lakefront Framework Plan. In the past decade, we've spent over $30 million in park improvements in Jackson Park, from new playgrounds and renovated parking lots, the beach dune plantings, and the new trails. And our upcoming projects in Jackson Park are no less important. These upcoming projects reinforce the Park District's commitment to the park and to the community. As previously announced, the Park District and the Chicago Department of Transportation will very soon begin our utility work between Midway and Hayes to support not only the existing and future park developments, but of course, the Obama Presidential Center. In addition, we will resume our construction on the long-awaited track and field on Stony Island, and on completion, this new 8-lane track and field will support community uses from various athletic teams, which include Hyde Park Academy, our Junior Bear Jackson Park Raiders, the Wolfpack Youth Sports Group, countless pickup games, walking clubs, and more. The amenities will also include bleacher seating and sports lighting, so we can use the fields and enjoy them beyond dusk. Now, our team is also going to kick off the next set of framework plan projects by designing, we're going to refurbish the Iowa building, which is to the northeast of here. We're going to upgrade the baseball diamonds north of Hayes, and we're going to create a new dog-friendly area. And I'd be remiss again if I didn't end by taking this opportunity to acknowledge the involvement of the community and all the support we've gotten and the tireless commitment, the meetings, the park cleanup days, all the support. And I want to thank you, Louise McCurry, and Cecilia Butler. You know, you're just over the way at Washington Park, but the two of you have been with us since the 20 years I've been at the Park District, so thank you. And I'll close by saying yes, absolutely. And again, I want to just close. I want to thank the state of Illinois and the governor. I want to thank the city of Chicago again for the support, Mayor Lightfoot. Thank you, Marty, and everyone at the Obama Foundation, because what you're doing here is you're spearheading a tremendous amount of investment that hasn't been seen here since 1893. So with that, it's my pleasure to welcome to the podium now Commissioner of the Chicago Department of Transportation, Gia Biaggi.
Thank you, Superintendent Kelly. And for those of you who know a little bit about me from the past, I spent a lot of years at the Park District. It's great to see you, Louise and Cecilia, as well. And it's really fantastic to be here today. Thank you, Mayor Lightfoot, for your leadership and support on this project. And thank you to the Museum of Science and Industry for hosting us here today. And indeed, it is brisk. And a special thanks to Governor Pritzker and Jose Rios, who's representing the Illinois Department of Transportation, for the state's contribution, as you heard, $174 million for transportation and mobility improvements that tie this whole investment together in and around Jackson Park. You know, as Mayor Lightfoot said, the creation of the Obama Presidential Center presents us this historic opportunity, and I think we've heard about the transformation that is right ahead of us. And as many as you know and have participated in, at CDOT we also went through an extensive community engagement process to really understand what some of the challenges were to moving in and around the park and to making sure that this investment matches the capacity needed to make sure that all of the investments are working well. So at CDOT, we're looking forward to getting going on this plan and that better connected space that you heard about, combined with the Park District improvements and our own. That's 5 new acres of parkland as part of this campus. It's a dramatic improvement that will really make better connections for pedestrians and cyclists, and it will create that world-class destination right here on the south side. So the design includes off-street trails, the new pedestrian and bike underpasses that will extend the network of trails in and around Jackson Park, connect to the lakefront, and eliminate the need to cross busy streets. There will be road closures, of course, inside the park that create that new parkland, as well, with the first closure starting along South Midway Plaisance from Stony Island to Cornell Drive sometime later this summer. In a later phase of the project, we'll be closing Cornell Drive between North Midway Plaisance and Hayes Drive and converting what's now a 6-lane roadway into parkland. We've also designed, that's great, we should applaud that. It's a rare opportunity to do that anywhere in the city. We've also designed a series of very strategic safety and operational improvements that can accommodate the resulting shift in traffic patterns. We'll be adding lanes on key corridors, improving operations to get rid of those existing bottlenecks, and to ensure that whether you're on foot, on bike, in a car, taking public transit, we hope to get to where you need to be, that it's easy, it's seamless, and it accommodates the future traffic demand. We recognize, though, that construction projects can be disruptive, especially ones in transportation. So we're phasing the work over several years to make sure that we're not completely being disruptive, but doing it in sequence, communicating really well about the changes over time. And we'll be providing lots of notice and alternative routes and options so you can get from where you are to where you need to be. So the transportation plan for Jackson Park and communities in and around the Obama Presidential Center will leave that long-term legacy, no matter how you move around. And we thank everyone for their continued commitment and the partnership of not only everyone up here, but out here in the audience and throughout the whole community. So with that, thank you so much. And I think your mayor.
Happy to take questions.
I'm wondering if
Go.
perhaps,
We have a microphone for you, Marianne. Go ahead.
I'm not sure if you are best at this or if Marty Nesbitt, can you give us a sense, how involved will the Obamas be? Will they be here for the groundbreaking? When is it? And when are we going to see the final product? And if you're here.
I'm already lost track of your 5 questions, but I'll try to do my best.
If you're here looking that way, are we going to see it from here? Like, will you see the library?
I'll start and then invite others to jump in. Look, the foundation led by Marty, Valerie Jarrett, we've been in constant conversation with them, and obviously they are talking to the Obamas on a regular basis. The times I've had the pleasure of meeting with the president when he's been here in Chicago, we've obviously talked about this. So they are clearly very involved, obviously, in making sure that their vision for the center is carried through, but also very involved and interested in what's happening on the ground here and with the various investments that the city has made. Let's recall, Michelle Obama grew up on the South Side. Her family is still here. She's very much engaged and interested in doing what happens and making sure that what the investments that they're making, that we're all making, really have the transformative effect and impact that we all envision. So we are working well as teams to make sure that we're moving forward. We have different responsibilities, but ultimately this is about transforming the South Side for the better. And as I said in my opening remarks, I take this investment by the Obamas very, very seriously. as you know, there were other options and other suitors for this incredibly important presidential center. It's an honor that it's here in Chicago, and we have an obligation, at least I feel, to really step up and honor that commitment to Chicago. They bet on us, and we bet on us, and we're going to continue to move forward.
And the groundbreaking might be when?
We hope that it will be later this fall. But we'll keep you posted. Obviously, COVID and the federal process took their own turn, but it's certainly our hope that it will be sometime this fall. Yes, if you'd like to.
I guess the only thing to add is, yes, you will be able to see it from here. It will come up right just over the water there. So, and the President and First Lady will be present. They will spend time here at the center. They will be here for the groundbreaking, and they'll be here well into the future as the center executes its plan to help the community, strengthen the community, and make this a better place. Okay, I'm sorry I have to dash, but thank you.
Thanks.
Mayor, good morning, Mayor.
Good morning.
The announcement today is $200 million in parks and transportation. Previously it was announced as $170 million from the state. Is the state covering the $200 million, or is the city paying for the extra $26 million?
There are monies that are being put into this. Obviously, the state has made a huge commitment, but there's also monies coming into this from the city, and we're hoping, frankly, that we'll get some additional support from the federal government as well.
I'm Aaron Gettinger from the Hyde Park Herald, blog from Hyde Park. What do you make of Alderman Harrison and Taylor not being here this morning?
Look, we've been in a lot of conversation with each of them, and I wouldn't read too much into them being here or not being here. We have not been able to do the work without them. They have been crucial, particularly the Woodlawn Housing Preservation Ordinance. That was a result of a lot of blood, sweat, and tears by everybody, and they've been really on the lead on this. We are in conversation on a regular basis with them, and fundamentally, they want, which we all want, to make sure that this community benefits from the work that's been put in here, and we've made a commitment to them. The $10 million in the resiliency fund, the work that we're doing in the gateway to the Obama Center, all of that is a result of us hearing both the alderwoman and the community on what the needs are. So we're committed to making sure. It wasn't that much of a speech anyway. But we're committed to making sure that we are working in partnership with both of them. I talked to Alderman Harrison last night about another issue related to this. This is going to be an iterative process that must continue to engage the residents and obviously the local elected officials.
The Park District and CDOT commissioners may be able to address this more.
Yeah.
Can you guys possibly speak to minority contracting and hiring in the city work that's going on and the Park District work that's going on
Mike,
with
you
all
want to
this
talk to that?
investment right now?
Sure. So obviously, MBWB hiring is front and foremost for us. Yeah. Well, specifics. First of all, the track and field. So the track and field is almost done. Thank goodness. It's 80% done. We worked closely with Alderman Harrison on a community hiring program. We met all the MBWB numbers. I think it's 30 and 6 on the track and field. On the utility work, hopefully will start next week, and we start mobilizing tomorrow. Again, those will meet all the MBWB numbers. That's it from the Park District side on that. Of course, so when I talk about the Iowa building and any of the other projects we're doing, we're going to meet all and exceed all the MBWB numbers for us, and we'll continue to work closely with the aldermen on local hiring as well.
Yeah, and from the transportation perspective, it's also the same, hitting those benchmarks of minority and women-owned participation. We've also been working very closely with the state on getting local hiring requirements in place, which has been a really big push forward that we've been able to do in collaboration. So in addition to 50% city hiring, there's also a local hiring that's hyper-local, people who live in and around the community being part of that project. And we're doing that throughout this project and then all of the capital projects in our program, working with organizations like Chicago Cook Workforce Partnership to make sure that we're getting folks not only in the pipeline but into jobs for long-term careers.
Mayor, this is Mitch with the Sun-Times. When will tree cutting begin, and what is the latest estimate on how many trees will be cut?
You want to talk to that? I'll have Commissioner Biaggi talk about any work that's going to be done. But, you know, as somebody who really values green space, and particularly trees, we're going to minimize any trees that need to be removed. Go ahead, Julia.
Yes, we've worked very hard to make sure that we're avoiding the migratory flyway season with our tree cutting, so we'll be working on the outskirts of that. So you'll see some of that work begin associated more toward the fall, so to make sure that we're not disrupting some of the migration patterns and the need for the trees to be in place. So it'll be an iterative process with each component of the project, but really focused on the fall for some of those removals. We can get that to you.
Mayor,
I think we have time for one or two more questions.
just had a couple of off-topic questions.
Oh, go
if you
ahead,
could,
Kurt.
Mayor. First of all, have you yet seen the Adam Toledo video? And can you comment at all on the family's request to put off releasing it for some time?
It's multiple videos, and I have now, yes, seen, I think, all of them. Look, this is a difficult set of circumstances. First and foremost, we have a family that is still incredibly in the throes of grief. A mom and father who have lost their son, siblings that have lost their brother, grandparents. So I want to be respectful of the family, but I also do think that something like a police-involved shooting, particularly under these circumstances, it's important for us to be transparent. We try to be as transparent as we can, and we're going to work with the family to move this process along. But I think we have to be respectful of them and move at their speed. And that's what we're endeavoring to do in balancing a range of different issues.
Would you rather see the release delayed till after maybe the Chauvin trial is done to minimize?
That's not really part of the calculus at all. This is about being respectful and balancing the need for transparency with this grieving family that's having an extraordinarily difficult time.
Have you seen the video?
I'm sorry?
Oh, I'm asking on behalf of Marianne. Have you seen the video?
Yeah, I just said in response to
but
Craig's
what are your
question.
thoughts? I'm sorry.
I'm not going to offer up my own thoughts about it. As you know, there are two separate independent investigations that are going on, one primarily led by COPA. I really think it's important for them to have the space that they need to be able to do their work. So I'm not going to offer my own commentary about that.
All right, one more. Okay,
Go ahead, Amy.
Yeah, I have one for the governor too.
All right.
Sure.
So, hi, Amy Jacobson, WIND. A lot of people want their leaders to go through the same hardships that they're suffering through, and you guys are lucky. You and Mayor Lightfoot, your kids are in school. They've been in school. CTU now demanding that our kids be vaccinated and their family members in order to return to school, and their list of demands changes every day. So that said, why in the world would you sign House Bill 2275 giving them more power?
Well, back up a moment and just recognize that every school district is making the right decisions for their families and for their children, and that's happened all over the state of Illinois. That's what from the summer after we had the initial shutdown of schools last spring, it was important to me that we get kids back in school safely, and that's really only a decision that can be made at the local level. So the city of Chicago has been engaged in those conversations with the teachers union and with parents. And so they're making the decisions that are best for them. As far as the bargaining rights, that's a completely separate issue. It's an issue that's been around for quite some time now. The issue is that every other school district in the state of Illinois has the right to bargain for the particular items that are listed in that bill. Those are ones that the teachers have been asking for quite some time, and it was something that I had campaigned on, said that I would do, and I did.
Marianne, you get the last one, Governor. Well, I might have more than one. Can you ask, I'm asking about the skyrocketing numbers in Michigan, especially
Yeah.
with children,
Yeah.
more hospitalized.
Yeah.
What are your concerns?
Yeah.
And the positivity rate is increasing to the point where you have said there would be new litigation. Why not?
I don't think we're past that point. But let me back up. Let me just mention that I had a number of conversations with folks in Michigan, including the governor, over the last week, and they're seeing very, very challenging times. It is related to most particularly school sports. They've seen an uptick, not just uptick, but outbreaks as a result of some school sports, and other activities that are going on, things that we've talked about here for some time. And we've allowed carefully for sports to come back and for restaurants and bars to come back. And most of the people who are operating those businesses are doing so with the mitigations and doing it properly, and the capacity limits. We are seeing upward movement of our cases and hospitalizations, obviously, but we have seen a beginning of maybe a lessening of the rise of cases. I don't want to predict anything because this virus is unpredictable, but I think at least in the short term that seems to be good news.
And Johnson & Johnson, are you any concerns of that cause? Are you going to be able to fill in the gap?
Well, I'm 20 days from having the Johnson & Johnson vaccine injected into me, and I feel great. And I will say that I share the desire to act with an abundance of caution. 6 people is not an insignificant number, but 7 million people have been injected with the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, and now there's 6 of these cases. And I think this goes to show you that the current CDC and FDA are really doing a very good job of surveilling the country to see if there are any challenges that have come from these vaccines. And the fact that they identified 6 of a certain kind and they acted upon that, I think, is reasonable. I'm very curious to see what the ACIP committee, the emergency meeting that's happening today, comes up with. We certainly, all of us challenged with not getting Johnson & Johnson vaccine and able to give it out, but we also don't want to, do it in the face of what are, some challenging circumstances and cases.
Aaron is going to be the last question for the governor, then we have to wrap this up.
Aaron.
And the mayor, I wondered if you had any thoughts about Senate Majority Leader Lightfoot's planned bill for a hybrid elected school board with part appointed and part elected members. What if you had any thoughts about that? Whether she was making on your report, whether you would sign that bill versus the fully elected school board.
I'll have a lot to say about that later. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.